Hello, and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy, and I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, great. And tonight we are here with Dan DeMarco from Admiral Fox.
Hello.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I usually start by asking people kind of to introduce themselves. I still might do that, but I want to dive into your album, Nowhere is Safe.
Sure.
And I've read reviews. Prescient is really it's creepy.
That's the word.
It's creepy prescient where you're just like, what did you know?
I feel a little guilty almost. I feel kind of bad about how prescient it was. It's very interesting to kind of like listen to that album now in light of like all of the things that happened the year that I released it. And it came out right as quarantine was starting, or I guess April, so like a month into it. And I remember even thinking at that time, I was like, this will be done by like June, July. I've got a couple shows lined up, but I'll just delay them for a few weeks and, whatever. And
Yeah.
I was very wrong.
Very wrong. I was just talking to someone about, I think especially in the northern Midwest, we're like, it's like a snow day, but longer.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard a lot of people comparing it to just like the flu kind of at the beginning. And just like, I guess it was like sort of like a wishful thinking type thing.
Well,
yeah.
How we could, it's just funny because how could we have fathomed, except, damn it, you seem to have fathomed it pretty well.
It's interesting because I use music to kind of like put my like catastrophizing thoughts into it. Like I kind of use it as a way to like, let me just put this anxiety I feel and I'll just kind of write down the most exaggerated way I can express it. And it just kind of ended up being correct on this album. It doesn't usually happen that way, but but it did.
It's
pretty soon you're gonna get people asking what you're writing next to see if you have some sort of control or knowledge of what's happening.
Yeah, that's why I did kind of a re-record of an old album this time. I didn't want to test the waters again.
You're like, I gotta leave a little space in between this here.
Yeah, I don't want to write any new depressing stuff.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I will unfairly, and we're going to get back to the album, but I just have to say, it's just, but Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Admiral Fox. Yeah, no.
Sure, yeah.
Explain yourself is what I kind of mean.
Yeah. Well, Admiral Fox started out as just kind of my solo project. When I first moved to Minneapolis, I had done like other kind of solo stuff under different names before, but I moved to Minneapolis in like December of 2017, and I had these songs written that became the Winter in Limbo songs, but I sort of wanted a new identity, I guess, since I was in a new place and just kind of make a fresh start. And I heard this song on the radio, and I thought that the DJ said, "This is blah, blah, blah by Admiral Fox." And I was like, oh, that's a cool name. I should look them up later. And then I Googled it, and there wasn't a band with that name. So I was like, I'm just going to take that name. And it was just kind of a moment where everything came together, and I took the name Admiral Fox, and I was able to release Winter in Limbo under that name like a couple weeks later.
That's funny.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, now I'm almost a little more worried that you hear voices that say that.
It was a radio. I'm pretty sure the radio was actually on, but I think I might have just misheard, or there was a glitch, an audio glitch or something like that. So I was playing around a lot. I did a lot of like open mics and things like at Moto-Eye, which I love performing at still, and just met a lot of people, and I met my band, and now, here we are.
Now here we are.
Now here we are. Yeah.
Now here we are. Well, it's just gonna take us right back to the latest album, because I just but it was, of course I was listening to it again today, as you do, good student does, and it was really so proud that really nailed it on home for me today. So you could tell a little bit about tell us where that song came from. And for folks who are kind of listening to this later, we are just a couple days beyond stuff happening at the U.S. Capitol. We're just
Yeah.
this today's
Yeah.
it's January 9th
It's
and
such a
January 6th is when we had
this
a
whole week was just yeah. This is January 9th. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about kind of current events or not,
well,
but
it's
we'll
like
focus on the song right now, I guess, since that's what you asked. Um,
well they are. I mean they're as I said they're creepily entwined. I mean
yeah.
that in a great way. Don't you know?
No, I'm taking it as a compliment. Thank you. So proud. The kind of the idea behind the lyrics of that song is just more about like me reflecting on these questions that I've been having of like I want kids. I feel like I would enjoy having children, but the world is just very like fucked right now, and I feel myself just kind of in a precarious place in my own life, and I don't know if I could like it's kind of a depressing thought, but it's like I don't know if in good conscience I could like create another person that would then have to like deal with the world. And yeah, and I had written that kind of early in 2020, still in January, maybe even 2019. And I don't know. I wish that I had been kind of proven wrong since then. But yeah, and so it kind of entertains this complete rebel just like test and speak your mind and overthrow government if you
Oh,
need to.
did she freeze?
I was like, did I say something
Frozen
wrong?
up.
You still there?
Yeah, there was a little technical glitch. So I heard part of it, but it probably will show through on the recording. But yes, you were saying, I mean, you were saying that the trepidation of having kids now.
Yeah, just that thought of like, I would like to have kids, but like, you know, is it responsible to like have to make a kid and force them to kind of live through all of the turmoil right now? And like, yeah, and again, that was another example of me kind of writing a song that I felt was like this exaggerated kind of articulation of an anxiety I had. And then it just came eerily true after like this week. And, of course, all of the things leading up to this week.
Very much so. And it's funny, I think I'm beyond thinking about if I were going to have kids. I think one of them you might have seen in the background for a second there, but my oldest one who's 22, she speaks of the same reservation, which I think you guys are so thoughtful. I don't think I put that much thought into having my kid, which speaks to a different era in a lot of ways. It just
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, how other people think about having kids at all. I definitely kind of meditate on things like that a lot, and just like, what's my responsibility towards my kids if I have them? And like, is it selfish to have a kid because I want one? Is there like a selfless reason that I could like make another person exist? And even talking about it, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit because it feels like sort of like a cliche emo thought to have of like I didn't ask to be born. Um, but I don't know. It's kind of like the other side of that thought, and it was just this thought I kept having, so I had to write it in a song.
Do you tend to write out things that you're hanging on to or pondering, or what do you lean towards? Or
Yeah, I mean, songwriting is definitely my version of journaling, I guess. I'll write out lyrics or just even like fragments of just like thoughts I'm having, because if they just stay in here, that's bad, you know? And kind of like before Nowhere is Safe, that was kind of being channeled just through personal things about like relationships and just kind of anxieties I have on a personal level. And this EP was kind of my first step into writing about political things and just being more kind of socially conscious and looking at the world. So, but I kind of used my same strategies of like, this is political, but it affects me and I'm anxious about it and it affects people. Like, I think before I had this kind of disconnect where I was like, if I'm writing something political, I feel like there's some kind of divide between like the personal side of it. And I had like a revelation where like that's not true at all. I think that political things are very personal. And then I wrote these 5 songs and even more songs that will be coming out later, but I'm gonna hold on to them for now.
Oh, so those, so you have more that's going to be released. Winter in Limbo on February 5th. Are those songs more along this vein? Are they?
No, so Winter in Limbo, this new
Oh,
album is
sorry, that's the
actually
remake of the 2018. Yeah, I'm sorry,
yeah.
but yeah, tell
No,
us
no
about
problem.
it.
No, but I'm happy to talk about it. It's a remake of the debut Admiral Fox album, and yeah, like I kind of said earlier, I released it like just a couple months into living in Minneapolis. I didn't know anybody. I was living in this tiny studio apartment where like the oven was right next to my bed. It was, yeah, I was very much at square one when I released Winter in Limbo. And you can kind of tell when you listen to the original Winter in Limbo, the music is very tinny. I recorded the whole thing on just my like MacBook's built-in microphone because I didn't have any other gear. Um, so it just always kind of came across to me as a very rough and kind of like not very technically well done album. And I had always wanted to re-record it, but I never really had the time, or it never really felt like the right time. And then 2020 happened, and I suddenly had nothing but time to devote to, any projects I wanted. And while I'm still writing new songs, I felt like, now I have a microphone, I have, you know, better quality recording gear. My voice is better. I feel a better performer. I feel like a more confident singer. Why not redo Winter in Limbo the way I intended it to sound? Um, and I feel like I can stand by kind of this version of Winter in Limbo a lot more. At the same time, a lot of people really enjoyed the original Winter in Limbo, and I was kind of taken aback by the fact that people listened to it and enjoyed it. Because when I heard it, especially nowadays when I listen to it, it just sounds like this really amateurish kind of thing. So I'm glad people are enjoying it. I hope that they enjoy the new version of it too.
Nice, nice. Well, and I don't know that as well, but I know that the Marcy knows how to make it better, and it just seems like such a nice transition to the next, which is a song off
Yeah,
the new
and
old
that
album.
and that song was kind of like, that became a fan favorite pretty quickly. I think part of it is because it is one of those rare positive Admiral Fox songs. It's just a straight up love song, and it's just a nice song to play, especially when you've been kind of playing a lot of sadder, more anxious songs. It definitely kind of comes near the end of our sets. And a lot of people resonated with it. And I think the fact that people liked it so much was another reason why I wanted to make a good version of it. Because the original version of Marcy, to my ears, just doesn't sound very good. So I hope to do it more justice. And I think I have. A lot of people have been complimenting just to me. A lot of old fans have been like, I love the new Marcy, which is super gratifying to hear.
Nice, nice. And how did, because you have a fan base, how did they like the nowhere is safe? I would have to be careful with the new, the old, but the
Yeah,
new,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, 'cause that, as you said, that was kind of a transition into a slightly different sound. It seemed,
it's rougher, it's rawer, I guess.
yeah,
It's more like distorted guitars, less acoustic stuff. It's more political, obviously. I think listening to the albums, it might feel like a bit of a jump, but if you were like kind of there, obviously, it did feel like kind of an organic progression just because of the people I met and the bands that we played with. Like not to knock kind of like indie rock, indie folk singer songwriter music. I love that stuff too, and those were the kinds of and I know a lot of musicians that do that style really well. But a lot of the bands that we started playing with were just these like punk bands, like I don't give a shit, like angry political punk bands. And I ended up just really loving their sound and just kind of really liking just kind of the lack of inhibitions and just the lack of a filter in their music. And I was like, we have to do this too. And yeah, it was very natural. It was a very like organic
nice.
kind of transition for us.
Well, and I like that. Well, lifelong fan of punk music. So, and lean heavy towards some of the noise. And I'd even say some of the, some of the music that you have is, it's not noise, but there's a noisy component to some of the
There's a
songs, if you know what
noisiness.
Hmm?
There's a noisiness to
A
them.
noisy, yeah, exactly. But I what I like about this is each song has a different, like Salamander, I almost call it like a Bollywood punk sound,
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean that's just what but I like that each has a very what I like about it is that each has a very distinct sound.
Hmm. And that's another goal for every album that I do is like I don't want a song to sound too much like another song, basically. And with Nowhere is Safe, again, it was a lot of firsts for Admiral Fox in a big way. It was our first political album. It was our first album we recorded as a band, instead of me recording all the instruments. On this one, we had Lucas Rallo on bass, we had Ben Willett on drums, we had Matt Lochner on guitar, and then me doing other guitar and singing. And yeah, I think that I went off on a tangent, and I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that a big point of when we release albums and when we work on songs is we try to figure out what makes this song sound different from all our other songs because we don't want it to sound like we're just doing the same thing over and over again.
No, and as dearly as I love punk, I certainly have and bands that I like where one song sounds, the Ramones. A lot of those songs sound pretty similar.
Yeah, you hear one, you've heard them all.
You've heard them all, and that is not at all the case with yours at all.
Thanks. I mean, and that's something we try to avoid. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes, and this one has got a space age retro sound, and this one, I mean, it's really fun to listen to, which the the sonic fun of it balances out the dire realistic
That's
kind
great
of
because I was afraid it was
dystopian.
gonna just be this like depressing, just hammer into your head,
Mm-mm.
just we're all doomed idea. So I'm glad that there's enjoyment to be had.
It's there's some sugar with the medicine there,
That's the
and
goal.
I do mean that. I mean, it is, where you listen to it and you go, oh man, okay, this is it's so this is the first album played with other musicians.
Mhm.
How do you let go? How did that go for you?
It was something I had to learn for sure. Because even before Admiral Fox, I would, you know, write songs that had other instruments, and I would be recording all of them, or figure out a way to make like a synth that did the instrument. So I think playing the songs with the guys for so long definitely helped because a lot of the songs on Nowhere is Safe had been rehearsed for a while. They'd been part of our sets for months before we recorded. So I already felt pretty confident in, having them record on their album. It's also really nice to kind of have three other pairs of ears to listen to stuff because a lot of times I'll have this idea like, I want it to sound like this weird kind of abrasive noise that maybe not a lot of people will like, and then I'll like present it to the other guys, and they won't be like, "That's awful," but they'll find a way to kind of, make it a little more palatable. And I really think that with Nowhere is Safe, we kind of really struck gold on it. We were able to sort of balance each other's musical tastes in a way that made something sound like really distorted and raw, but also interesting. So to answer your
Oh,
question, it was easy because they kind of yeah, like I just trust them with my music, and it was easy.
that's good. That's good. And it's good that they can, because I know, as I said, having listened to a lot of, I've listened to a lot of shows, and I was a regular at Fuck Mountain. I would listen to some places, in dark basement, a lot of serious noise, but that is an acquired taste.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
and I like, it's an acquired and a rich taste. You only want so much of it. So to have somebody,
And I'm always trying to kind of push the noise level. Like I feel like I could have made it way noisier, honestly. And like I don't know, for whatever reason lately I've kind of been trying to make kind of a less pristine sound for my music. I guess it's just a personal inclination I've been having. And Nowhere is Safe kind of was my first chance for me to really indulge in making something sound noisier. Um, yeah, and I would love to increase the noise.
I, I'm balancing that with but hearing you describe your earlier album. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, if you know what I mean. But I'm like, that is an interesting, yeah, to
What do you
dirty it
mean?
up a little. I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah, like it's I don't know what it is. I think that kind of started out making music and I wanted it to sound everything to sound very clear. I wanted everything to sound like you could easily discern all the noises because I'm used to kind of writing songs on like GarageBand and adding like 16 layers of all different sounds and things. But I also just wanted everything to be perfectly audible. But lately I've been kind of simplifying and not being as concerned with sort of a perfect sound coming across. And in some ways, I think dirtying up the sound can be more interesting than just having a very sanitized and clear sound.
yeah. Well, I mean, it quite literally is a grittier sound. I mean, it's in
Mhm.
every sense of the word. It's
Sure. And I also
that.
felt like part of it is also just like the urgency of the subject matter. If I'm saying like, will the world end after all? I don't really want it to sound like clean and sweet. I want it to sound like loud and in your face and don't not listen to this very important thing I'm saying. It
Yeah,
kind of like if the music is loud, then I can be loud, and my message can come across because it's so loud.
yeah. It, it's hard to sound authentic when you've polished everything.
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean, with
exactly.
that message.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's a way simpler way of saying what I just said. Yeah,
No, well,
that's
I would have
perfect.
only gotten to it that you said that. I mean, it is, but it is. I mean, and you must be taken aback yourself in um how close to the bone that the music is.
Yeah, I mean, and it's I feel like with every song that I write, I want to try to get close to the bone, I want to sort of touch on something that's hard for me to admit or hard for me to say to someone else. I think a lot of my music, that's kind of the point, is I'm expressing a thought that I feel uncomfortable expressing, either because I feel anxious about it or because it's about something very serious that I can't just like bring up at a party or whatever. Um, so yeah, I think that I'm always trying to kind of take it there to that like uncomfortable truth moment. And unfortunately, for Nowhere is Safe, those truths kind of also relate to just kind of the state of things uh, at large right now, instead of just me.
I was gonna say I gravitated to your song. Um, what is it? Who lift my spirit?
Lift my spirit, yeah.
I wish I wrote down whatever the lyric was, but it was something of I'm only a person if somebody can
I'm only
hear
a
me.
person if there's people around.
Oh my God.
I'm glad that that resonated with you. That's actually a really old song too. That was before Admiral Fox. I wrote that just kind of solo a long time ago. But we started playing it at shows before Nowhere is Safe came out, and I was kind of, the lyrics to that song, speaking about getting close to the bone, like that's an example of like lyrics that are really really personal. And the first few times I played it, like as a soloist, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be too much for people. But
You're
people really
exposing
resonated with
yourself.
it. Yeah, just exposing myself like that. But people really appreciated it and resonated with it, and I was like, wow, this is a song people get. Because there's the other issue where it's like if it's too specific, maybe people won't understand it, or if it's too obviously about me, maybe that'll close people out. But I found that the opposite is true. Like the more specific and personal you make it, the more people relate to it. Um, and so when the time came to make Nowhere is Safe, we had been doing Lift My Spirit so much that we were like, we have to put this on the album, even though it's so old and it predates Admiral Fox. It just seemed to fit right in.
We have to
Yeah.
do this for the quarantine that we know is going to happen.
Yeah. We got to record it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for posterity.
Get it now. It is. I mean, Yeah, it is just incredible how you kind of hit from the quarantine to the civil unrest. I mean, it's
Yeah, and again, I really, I didn't intend for all of this to happen. I'm really sorry. Uh,
yeah.
but if I had known, I wouldn't have written all these songs. That's probably not true.
It's what's so funny? It does feel like maybe you're living in a twilight zone.
Haha.
Yeah, he has a
Hey,
song of
I
the
wrote a
Twilight
song called
Zone.
Twilight
Yeah,
Zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the twilight zone, very much. That's yeah.
That was a good segue.
Well, yeah. You could.
Yeah.
Good job.
You're writing new stuff now though?
Yeah, so I'm always writing, it's just always something I'm doing. So I always have like songs I'm sitting on. The difference is that kind of during the past year and a half, I haven't been able to kind of show the band the songs just because we've been unfortunately having to like kind of socially distance from each other. Other than like sharing songs over the internet, we haven't really had a chance to rehearse. So I now have just kind of so much music that only I have really listened to, or I like force my girlfriend to listen to it. And but yeah, like when that stuff finally comes out, I'm super excited to release that too, because it does kind of follow more in the vein of Nowhere is Safe, where it's more distorted guitars and also just kind of synths over top of it, and it's political as well.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'm
but
excited.
it's not completely finished yet, so I don't want to talk about it too much, just in case it
Oh,
transforms into something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
it's like, could you tell us what's happening next, please?
Yeah, I made a lot of predictions.
I only need predictions for the next 2 weeks. Just tell me
Yeah.
what's going on.
I'll write a song really quick just for what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks.
I sure would appreciate
Put
that.
that out really fast. Yeah.
That's. I'd like to see someone do something about the next 2 weeks. I'll put it that way.
I'll put my like prescience to the test and see if I can
Yeah.
do what I can do.
I think that's a good. That's a yeah.
You'll be the
Yeah.
first to hear about it.
Awesome.
Premiere it
Yeah,
on-
that would be. I'd like that too. That would be good.
Yeah. It'll be the Mostly Minnesota premiere.
Awesome. Awesome. It it must be strange. So it must be strange to now have bandmates and to not be able to play with them.
It is. I still, we text and stuff. But it has been kind of strange to not be able to play with them. I miss them, and like I feel like they are as much Admiral Fox as I am. Just because I'm writing the words and like the chords, that doesn't mean that they don't contribute a really important part to Admiral
Right.
Fox that I can't contribute. I mean, I can't play drums, I can't play bass, I can't play guitar as well as Matt does. So it's yeah, like they're just as fundamental to our sound, and they were really fundamental in helping us find the Nowhere is Safe sound. Like I don't know if I could have gotten there by myself. So it has been strange. And the other thing that their absence has kind of left me to do is I just add sounds to all the songs that I was kind of stripping away before. So these new songs are going to be very have a lot of noises going over them.
Awesome. Awesome. And you may have just answered that question. And I think in part you certainly did, but are there other ways that you're able to write differently now that you know that you've got band, both that you know that you've got
Absolutely.
band members and you know who they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Like I'll write a, you know, yeah, like I'll write a bass part and I'll be like, Lucas would be great playing this, or he could even expand on this and make it sound even better. Because they already did that with the songs I had written by myself previously. They took the Winter and Limbo songs and made them great, And in fact, I guess I was thinking of them when I re-recorded Winter and Limbo by myself. A lot of the changes that are there in the new version came out from just playing those songs with the guys. And now I
Mm.
know, and like those live versions of Winter and Limbo are the real versions in my head at this point. And that was another reason why I had to re-record it, was because like the versions that we play live are the versions of the songs everyone likes. And I would hate for like someone to listen to us live and then listen to the Winter and Limbo that I did all by myself, a million years ago. because it doesn't really represent the spirit of the live songs. So yeah, I was kind of thinking of that when I re-recorded Winter in Limbo. I was kind of like, how would they kind of do this part? And I did a rough approximation of that.
But it is you. It's you playing everything on the re-release as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Everything is me. Although Lucas does some backing vocals on a few songs.
Nice. Nice.
Is I was gonna say, is your live stream that you're having, is that Winter in Limbo? Is that with your bandmates or
No, that'll just be me solo.
okay?
And I'll be
Okay.
doing. I'm basically thinking it'll just be like a normal concert where I'll play Winter in Limbo songs. I'll play some new songs. I'll play some Nowhere is Safe songs, but I'll like keep my fingers crossed. You know.
That
Yeah.
they're passe by then.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's like this is old news at this point. Yeah.
You know, the other thing I'd like to tell you how much I like the videos. Now I'm
I am
looking at my notes.
so lucky to know these amazing video people, videographers, filmmakers. Walt Smits is a genius, and he has made every Admiral Fox video except for the video for Pictures of Drones, which is also
Okay.
another great video made by True Hallucinations. And yeah, like Walt just has this knack for like combining, I guess, these like innocent, playful, childlike imagery with eeriness and just kind of these haunting ambience. And it was just like perfect for some of our songs. Really hits the nail on the head with like, we released a video for a song called The Heat. And Walt had this idea to just give everybody these like strange masks, and he shot this like scene on like an old VHS camera, and it was just so weird, and it was great. And he just has this uncanny ability to just capture the vibe of a song and make a video out of it. He made an amazing video for Salamander
Yeah.
with these puppets just like jamming super hard. He made a super tiny stage, and it's great. And then we have Lucas kind of thrashing with his shirt off and like a blue wig on. It was a lot of fun.
It was there's something so touching about that video.
Yeah, it's cute, right? There's
Yeah.
a cuteness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is that weird balance of it's so cute. So you know.
Yeah, Walt's just great at that. He just knows how to unexpectedly make something really cute.
And you just kind of give him carte blanche and he
Yeah, well, Walt will come up with kind of the ideas, and then we'll talk. Sort of, he'll before he starts shooting anything, he'll kind of like describe everything to me, and I'll be like, yes, that sounds amazing. Do all of that, yeah. Or he'll like do some test footage and show it to me, and 99% of the time I'll be like, yep, that's great, just do it. So he's really easy to work with. He's super communicative, and personally, I don't really have much of a knack for visual art. I kind of focus on just the way things sound. So I'm just really happy I've found Walt, because he just is so into visual art and making moods out of it, and he just has a style all his own. And I'm really happy that he's been so generous in making videos for us, because his style really kind of takes our music to another level.
How did you find him? How do you know him?
Well, when I moved here, my girlfriend actually introduced us, which was great. Yeah, I mentioned to her that I'm a musician, and I just wrote a song called Winter.
Probably
Limbo.
waited till like date 4 though to mention that, right?
I was waiting for the right time. I don't know if I've mentioned this.
Nice.
No, but yeah. So I was talking like I'd love to make a music video for Winter in Limbo, and then she just gave me Walt's number, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so he's been with us from the start. It's great.
That's
and then also, I don't want to not praise I want to continue to give praise to Alex,
Yeah.
who made the video for pictures of drones, and he also just has a very distinctive style of like manipulating um, visual footage. I don't really understand what he does, but he just kind of makes this very signature, very colorful and trippy seeming visuals. And he works at True Hallucinations, or I guess True Hallucinations is the name of his project, where he would make visuals like that in sync with live performers at concerts. So like,
Okay.
yeah, like as a performer is playing, Alex would sort of like in the background have monitors kind of going off, and it's so cool to watch him do his thing. And I saw a show, or he was at one of our shows, just a basement show, and I saw him doing his thing, and I was like, "Have you ever done a music video? Would you please make a music video
Nice.
for me?" And he did, and he made the Pictures of Drones video, which I love.
Nice. I'm wondering now if I saw. God, I wish I could remember. I think may have seen him work at the Turf Club for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it is fun to. I've seen the process anyway, and it is kind of amazing to see it.
Yeah, it's very like
He
I
Did
don't know
one
what
at
it is.
Parkway.
What's
Oh,
up?
sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen him do one at Parkway. He is amazing.
Cool. I just love his aesthetic and just I don't know, it's like nostalgic, but it's also just very eerie,
Yeah,
which, you know, is something he shares with Walt, I guess. Just kind of combining nostalgic imagery with something twisted.
Which suits what you do pretty well.
Which suits our music pretty well. And yeah, I just feel so lucky I found them because, you know, I think that the visuals they provide to our songs are just so great. And I think they really elevate our music.
Oh,
yeah.
And I don't get to praise them enough. So thanks for bringing them up.
well, and I think it's, always trying to find the silver lining of 2020, videos, the time to watch videos has been fantastic. I think, I kind of hope that there'll be sort of a rebirth of more people doing more creative videos because it's.
Yeah, I hope so. That's been a part, like, that's been by far our most kind of like, our most engagement has been with our music videos. And I definitely want to keep doing things like that into the future. I think it's great to have sort of a signature visual style as a band. That's just really cool to have. And I didn't think I'd ever have it because I'm terrible at visual art, but lucky me.
It's nice to have a team.
It really is. It really is really nice to have a team, and I'm super lucky to be on a team with these amazing creative people.
It's good. Well, it's a good fit. I mean, and vice versa, because it's, the video for Pictures of Drones too. I mean, I think that there is a droney feeling. There is kind of a, there is sort of that almost like that the idea of being held hostage and being stuck, kind of comes through in that video in a weird, in a not obvious and overt way.
Yeah, there's just a tension there, and it's kind of like you're looking at these things, you're not sure what they are, but then suddenly it becomes clear, and you're looking at like a bird or something. There's so many moments in that video where I'm like, is this some kind of like the inside of a building or something? And then it turns into like a nature scene. And those moments in that video are just so cool.
Well, and I was about to go on a whole different tangent of, I'm thinking, I wonder what we're going to think about Nowhere is Safe a year from now. You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of living it right now. So many of the songs, I mean, we really just are sort of living some of these songs right now. And will there be, hopefully there'll be a nostalgia.
Yeah,
but
Everywhere is Safe is coming out in 2022.
Awesome. That I would like that to be the next name of the.
That'll be the next EP.
That sounds perfect.
We're gonna say Dan told us this was coming.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first.
Exactly, we get it first. So that, I don't mean to belabor it, but there really is something about this is such a snapshot in time that just, we've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people wrote music that I think hinted to something coming. We've had 4 years of, many of us had 4 years of anxiety, that have led to certain, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not the only person to write music about, just this oncoming sense of dread. Like those songs were written in like late 2019, and just I remember so much art from that period just kind of being very apocalyptic and very dystopian and just kind of alluding to this this awareness of some kind of darkness is coming. And yeah, and I think a lot of us were tapping into that. um, a lot of people I know, especially just the more like political musicians I know, were definitely writing a lot of music about that. And then I decided to tap in on those feelings too. um, and yeah, you know the rest of the story.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that on Wednesdays I watched the news. They said, "Who could predict the storming of the Capitol?" And I think, well, every musician had died.
Yeah.
It's
So it's just one of those things where I'm like simultaneously shocked and not shocked at all.
no, yeah.
I was like, they actually did it. Oh, I knew that, it makes sense that they would. Such a bizarre mixture of emotions.
And I have to say the only thing that's keeping me from, well, there are a couple things keeping me from just starting to pour out my heart here, is that we're not done.
I know.
As they said, we got two more. I will breathe easier in 2 weeks.
I'll breathe easier in 2 weeks, but it's like even in 2 weeks, to be honest, I
Yeah.
just feel like it'll be less in our face, maybe, but I still feel like a lot of the issues are still going to be there, unfortunately.
Many of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Many of the
And
social issues will absolutely still be there, but the handoff of the reins, I think.
Right. Yes. Yeah. He'll be gone, and that will be great. For sure.
Yes. Not to get political, but
No, I mean, how political am I allowed
I
to
mean,
get?
look at my side. When I'm dead, I don't have any qualms.
Yeah. I just saw that.
Yeah, I don't have any qualms about being which, and then it's a time to draw people in to the politics if they're not already there. It's a time to, I mean, you listen to the music of the late 60s, it's hugely political, compared to the music of 1975. I mean, it just is.
I think that's kind of one of the reasons why you write political music. It's one of the reasons why you'll have like an internet argument with a family member. Even if you don't think you're going to actually change that person's mind, other people are reading it. Other people are kind of seeing what you're saying, and you
Yeah.
need to be able to have a cogent argument when people say stuff. And it's the same with music. Like you want to make these ideas palatable, you want to make them catchy. It's like, I'm going to put this thought in a song and make a hook out of it, so it's playing in your head no matter what. It's just repeating, like Rage Against the Machine or something.
Right.
Like Rage had this uncompromising political agenda, but their songs were so catchy, everyone was just chanting like
Yeah.
this. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Like that's a radical idea, but they just made a crazy awesome song out of it, and it's just part of the public discourse now. I'm not putting myself at the same place as Rage Against the Machine.
No,
but that's just an example.
Not yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, it was so.
Dan, you just have to pass out your CDs at Christmas or albums and have them put them on at night while they're sleeping, so it soaks in. And
yeah. Yeah, I still have kind of like, with certain people that I know are more conservative just in my life, I can be like, I wrote a song, will you listen to it? And since they know me, they will. And that's how I get in the front door. I get my foot in the door that way.
I think that's.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna.
Way. Oh, go ahead, Ann. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. I was gonna ask you earlier, like, these songs, like, which one would you bring to Christmas dinner? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? It's a weird question, but you write some weird music,
It's a weird question, but you write some weird music. Is that what you were gonna say?
Yeah. Well.
Okay. Well, my family has listened to pretty much all my music, and they're my family's great, full of great people. I used to be a little more worried about like, oh, will my family accept this? Will they be okay with me using the F word and stuff like that. But
Oh, sure.
you just kind of like stop having to worry about that if you want to, just write whatever you want to write, and your family will, or my family would respect it.
Well, and I really mean, which song do you think is most persuasive?
Oh, okay. If I was trying to
That's what I,
persuade, if I was trying to persuade
my
someone,
family has all got RBG on their wall.
sure. I
The
guess if
F
I was
word might, but
if I was trying to like persuade someone, I guess I would show them pictures of drones, I think, just because I'm proudest of that
I,
song. That's my favorite on the
okay.
EP, just because of the kind of three-part structure of it. I I really wanted to kind of make that work, but I also just think it kind of shows my like anxiety about kind of oncoming things without uh I guess I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I just think that it sounds good. I feel like it's like the coolest song off the EP, so I'd want to share it with them. And I have shared it with my family, and they've been pretty positive about it, which is great. Thanks, family. I appreciate your support. Hi everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think the fact that you've been able to merge the political and the personal,
Yeah, and I
and I
think that
and
that was kind of the biggest revelation for me is that there isn't really a divide, at least not right now. You can't say like, oh, I don't get involved with politics. Everyone's involved. Everyone's involved. There's a personal angle to politics today with anyone. Um, and I guess nowhere is safe was kind of the moment, not the moment I realized that because it's way too late in my life for me to realize that, but it was just kind of that's the basic idea behind it is like this is political, but it's also really personal.
well, I think people have difficulty now agreeing on facts. Facts are suddenly to become opinion somehow, but like people understand anxiety. I mean, it's when you bring it that to get you something you were saying earlier, when you make it personal, we've all had well one. I hate using the phone. So that line is the pictures of drone. I'm like,
Yeah.
I, I don't like to order pizza. I don't. I have three people I'll talk to on the phone. Otherwise, oh God.
Ironically, that is probably my most controversial line. Every time I sing pictures of drones and I say, I don't know a single person who likes talking on the phone, there's always somebody that's like, I love talking on the phone. I talk on the phone all the time. It's the line I get the most crap for.
That's funny.
Really did not anticipate that at all. Like, of all the lines on Nowhere is Safe, that's what I'm getting the most like controversial takes from.
It is funny, but even for the people who disagree, it's kind of the exception that proves the point. It's there.
Sure. Yeah. But you're right. I think that like, it does help to kind of when you're communicating a point to remind the person you're talking to that you're a person with feelings and be like, I'm expressing something that I feel very anxious about. And the reason that I feel so strongly about what I'm talking about is because I'm scared of, certain disastrous things happening. And you can point at very recent events and, be like, see how all my anxieties were validated a couple days ago. And I think that people have a hard time arguing with that. There's always the crowd that's like, facts don't care about your feelings, but fuck those guys. Who cares about that?
Well, exactly. Well, and a lot of them don't give a fuck about our facts. So there you go.
Yep. Some people, it's better to not humor.
Well, and I think we've kind of reached that point where when someone shows you their true colors and they are so abhorrent to you, you just have to, there's no.
What's that? There's this saying where it's like, if somebody shows you who they really are, believe them.
Listen, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Someone tells you who they really are, listen.
Listen or
I
believe,
think
yeah.
we had that moment, and we've had so many other moments leading up to this moment. That's where I kind of get really upset is like, I'm glad that the deplatforming is happening. I'm glad he can't use Twitter anymore. I'm glad that Parler's off the App Store. But like this shouldn't have been necessary for all that to happen. I'm glad there was a line because for a while I thought there wasn't going to be a line.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm happy that there was a line, but that line should have been a long
Well,
time
I
ago.
was going to say just 2 weeks before. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? Like, yes, great, but holy buckets.
Yeah, with how many days are left?
Yeah. Now we're gonna say, oh,
Okay.
take them off.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But sorry.
I agree.
Yes.
This is
Well,
all on
not
the
to get.
next album. Everywhere is safe now. It's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
Admiral Fox.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, I think we were kind of held hostage where it's almost like an abusive situation where you, well, until they do something, we can't hold them
Mhm.
accountable.
It exactly is an abusive
Yeah.
situation. It's 100% an abusive situation.
They've said they're going to do this, this, and this.
Hmm.
Do we really have to wait for it to happen?
Like even just like with attitudes towards lockdowns and staying in quarantine, I was feeling gaslit by just the whole government. I was feeling gaslit by everyone because I stayed inside. I didn't, hang out with people, and it just seemed like the attitude in like just the whole city and I guess just the whole country was like, nobody's really doing that. Don't live in fear. And I was just hearing that everywhere. And
Sturgis must go on.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was just like I started to feel like I was crazy, honestly. And I had conversations with my friends. Like, I feel like I'm losing touch with reality almost because it seems like I'm living in a different reality than, what I see in pop culture and stuff. And they felt the same way.
Well, it's funny as I said, I have two daughters who live in Canada. I haven't seen them for a
Mhm.
year because the border's closed. And they talk about the difference in Canada where they are closed down. And they're like, we see pictures of our high school friend. They're both in college. So you see people from high school times, and nobody's taking it seriously down there. Nobody's taking it. They probably could have come home, but they're like, oh, we're not going to have stayed shut in for the last
Yeah.
9 months and then get COVID. The 4 days we come home for Christmas.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think about, just other countries that have like made it down to 0 or 1 case of COVID. And I'm just like, are you serious? And they're getting like stimulus payments every month, you
Oh,
know?
well,
And it's like,
certainly.
and the attitude is like, of course we will do this for you. Of course we would give you this. Whereas here, it's just, it's nuts. It's crazy. And it is abusive.
Yeah, to kind of
Yeah,
get back to it is. Yeah,
it is.
everywhere is safe. We're waiting for that one to come out.
Also, winter in limbo is a lot less heavy than nowhere is safe. You
Well, yes, as I said, that Marcy knows how to make better. That just is.
hmm Yeah, that's a happy tune, and like a lot of that album, it's just about like personal stuff. Like I said, since it's from kind of before Nora is safe, so there is some sad tunes on there. But in general, I think it's a much easier, kind of less heavy listen.
I
Which
was
is
gonna say, don't apologize for heavy and sad
No, no
though.
apologies, no apologies.
Okay, because I was gonna
Yeah,
say, I love to listen to that. It helps release, and yeah,
great.
it's good.
Thanks, thank you, I appreciate that. No
yeah.
apologies, just saying I got a range. What
Yeah,
what shade of anxiety do you want
Do
to
you want
feel
today?
today? Yeah.
pick a card, pick
Exactly.
any card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that is where I think this snapshot of, that's where I think, what are we going to think about it a year from now? What are we going to think about it 10 years from now? It's an important marking of what we're going through.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that
Yeah.
because you never know how people are going to feel about something when you release it. And I think I was just kind of staying true to that idea of like I'm going to make this as personal as I can, and hopefully it'll still be affecting other people. And so thank you.
I, I just think you can, well, I was about to say you can't get personal enough. That's truly not right. But I,
But we could test it. We could get real
exactly.
close.
Awesome. I think it's the details that make them universal, even if the details aren't, you know, even if you're shopping at this grocery store and I'm shopping at that grocery store, you talk about the Piggly Wiggly and I know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? We all have some common experiences the more specific you can get into, I can replace Piggly Wiggly with Kowalski's.
Exactly.
I can do that in my mind. And
Right.
and then, yeah, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
and that was just been I don't know. That's just always been my kind of like method of writing songs because like I said, like most of my music kind of comes out of me having an intense kind of personal feeling that I need to make into words. Um, and so, yeah, just the more personal you can make an experience, it almost seems like the more people can relate to it instead of trying to make something as sort of nondescript or as general as you can make it. That almost comes off as like less authentic or like, pandering almost. Um, yeah,
Meaningless.
meaningless. Yeah, vapid.
No, there's just nothing to hang your hat on there. It's,
Exactly.
Have you always used music as your outlet too?
I've always used like creativity as kind of a way to release things. For whatever reason, I can't keep up with journals. I've tried at like various points in my life to, and I'll write like a journal entry, but it would always be when I was like really upset. So I would
Oh.
just have like a journal, and it would just have this incendiary first entry followed by just blank pages because I wouldn't keep up with it. I just think for whatever reason, the creative impulse in me has to start with like just feelings I have or things that I've been thinking about. And I just, for whatever reason, I find it way easier to write a song or write like a short story or even just write lyrics that I don't even make into a song, just kind of dealing with the things I'm thinking about than straight up just journaling. I don't know why, but it's easier for me to do that.
Well, it almost feels like a more workable process then.
Yeah, it's like,
Damn
for,
it. You know?
yeah, like, oh, I'm so mad that I.
Yeah, like you're just sitting in that where when you're writing, you kind of think of ways to go or take it, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
like when you're writing, there's like this sense that you're making an arc out of a thought that might just feel very tangled in your head and not have a progression in your head. Putting it into a structure like a song can sort of, even if the lyrics of the song don't really have an arc, the song structure itself kind of provides some continuity there and some release, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is sounding really pretentious, but yeah, I guess that like for whatever reason, that's just how I'm able to sort of express my feelings. If I'm able to like, if I feel like there isn't a resolution in my head for the feeling, if I put it in a song that resolves and sounds, it ends. Maybe I feel like that feeling also has a resolution just because I was able to express it.
Mhm.
I
I
don't
think
know
I
if that
need
made
to
any
learn how to
sense at
write.
all.
I was just thinking that's a hell of a therapy right there.
I
That
have
is.
I
no
know.
idea if that made any sense, but
Yeah, no, it did. And I'm a little jealous that I don't have that skill.
well, I mean,
It's
you
become
guys are only
useful.
hearing the songs I want people to hear. For every song that's listenable, there's like 10 that I don't want anyone to ever know about. Um, I
Have
think it's
you,
important to write things that you don't even intend on ever releasing.
It just brings me back to my own childhood journal.
Yeah.
My mom sucks.
Ah,
The
can't
guy at
believe
the
she
girls'
acted
just
this.
are the worst.
I had to do homework.
It's the worst.
I
It's
hate
the
it.
worst.
Yep. That is basically what my journals were like.
I have kept a journal. it's, I know it's fantastic therapy. I think it's,
Mhm.
yeah. And then to
Yeah,
release it
it
out,
is.
and then it helps other people.
Yeah, that's super. It's just so validating as well. It's very therapeutic. And then to hear someone be like, I also don't like talking on the phone. It's just like, hey, great. I'm glad that we can both relate to that feeling.
I, it very much helps with the sugar in the medicine when there's something
For
like
sure.
that. And you're like, because it's such a funny little detail. And as you said, some people do like talking. It's not that I know. I have, as I said, I have my 3 or 4 people that I like to talk on the phone, but otherwise,
Yeah, and it's just that's kind of the way that I wrote that song in particular as well. Like I just had lines. I didn't really have kind of like this is the verse, this is the chorus. I just sort of had these like just fragments of lyrics like is the world gonna end? And then I don't know a single person who likes talking on the phone. I was trying to put that in a song for a while, and then with pictures of drones, it just seemed so perfect. And that's like the best feeling when you've been trying to insert a lyric into a bunch of different places and it's not working, and then finally it works. It's the best. I think that's why I like Pictures of Drones so much, because like there are a few spots in that song where I had these words I'd been saving for a while, and I was finally able to put them in a song, and it just like felt great.
I'm so curious on why you wanted that certain phrase in the song, or what
Sure.
what was it like? I want this in somewhere. What was that for you?
Because I think I think at this point when I'm kind of writing lyrics, because lyrics tend to happen kind of independently of music for me. I'll just have lyrics kind of waiting to be put onto music. When I'm writing out lyrics, there's something that goes off when I write down something where I'm like, that's kind of a fun observation that maybe I'm the only person that feels this way, but I still want to put it in the song because it's true. And with Pictures of Drones, the thought of like my phone ringing um, just gave me a lot of anxiety. I kind of get into spots like that where my phone just ringing, I don't even know who's calling me, just makes me feel very nervous because I'm so used to the phone ringing and horrible news is happening. And I think we're also at a point now where civilized people just text you. If you're a good person, you're just going to text the person. Okay, don't call. And if you are going to text, don't say something like "we need to talk" or something terrible.
Oh,
Why would
thank
you
you.
say that? Yeah.
Thank you.
So all of these thoughts were just churning in me, and they came out as that line.
Oh,
And yeah, it was just perfect.
let me just cut that clip and send that to some people.
Yes, please, please do. Go ahead.
I am not alone.
This is the hill I will die on. And I'm getting pushback from that line. That's the only time I've had people be like,
Fuck them.
I don't know, but yes.
They're wrong.
It's like, excuse me. This is
But
my platform.
Hey, can we take it that they're listening? How about that?
That's, yeah, you're right. That's the silver lining.
that's a good way to do it.
Thank you for
Yes.
listening.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you for listening, but also you're wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
I'm not accepting notes. I'm not accepting comments on the songs at this time.
Call back later.
Yes. Or don't.
Yeah.
Text me.
Yeah, text me that.
Text me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can think of a lot of good songs about that. I'm gonna. Yes. I had someone actually text me, I know this is your worst fear, but can you call me?
It's like, you know it's my worst.
You know what? Then he could have just said, I don't want to date anymore, because funny enough, I was right.
You know?
Dude, just text it.
Yeah.
That's probably kinder at that,
Could have just saved so much time and just bad
No,
feelings.
then there's evidence. If you just say it could be.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Saved.
It's
You
just
text it. There it is.
Yeah.
texting.
No,
On that note, we've gone from
Yep.
Yeah, we're like, wait.
The other thing is, like, if somebody texts you, you can kind of act like you didn't see it right away, which is something you can't do when someone calls you. And I need that. I've had like 7 awkward pauses just in this interview. I can't just like rapid fire back and forth talk to someone. If I'm having a text conversation, I get a text, I can like wait like 5 minutes or longer to like respond, you know? I need that. With a call, I don't have that.
so with you. Let me tweet you. I'm that bad.
Yeah,
Let me just tweet you.
I'm so bad at Twitter. I'm embarrassed.
Oh,
I feel like everyone else is so great at Twitter. I have like 4 tweets, and they're all
I
like
have
retweets.
0.
Yeah, I feel so bad. I'm an Instagrammer. That's the main like social media for me, is Instagram. And
That's
I just
funny.
can't. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. I just can't get on to Twitter. I can't do it.
I'm gonna
I
go on
just
a limb
never
and say I
have-
have a few years on you.
Well,
You probably don't have a 22-year-old daughter.
no, I don't. I wrote a song about that. I'm very torn.
That's right. But I'm sure that's funny. Well, this is a good segue for me to say, tell people where they can find you online.
Well, you can go to itsadmiralfox.com. That's our official website. It's got all of our tunes on it. If that's too official and weird, you can check out our Bandcamp, admiralfox.bandcamp.com. All of our music is there as well. We're also on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming sites. You can check out our amazing music videos that we talked about a little bit on our YouTube channel, which is, YouTube/Admiral Fox. We're everywhere, basically. We try really hard to just be on as many platforms as we can. So just Google us and you'll find us. Unfortunately, there's a real Admiral, and his last name is Fox. So there's a real Admiral Fox. And he's like taking all my SEO. He takes all the Google. And I feel bad on the one hand because I'm like, you're really a guy. But on the other hand, I need my band to be a little more visible,
We can talk. I know how to do some SEO. We can talk after
Okay.
this.
We'll talk. Yeah.
We'll take them down. No
Great,
worries.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll
No
talk.
worries.
We'll
We
talk.
got that covered. We got that covered.
Thank you. I'm glad I showed up today. This is good.
Yes, this was perfect. Oh, we're glad that you showed up too, because it was so much fun to talk about Nowhere is Safe. It was fun. I was gonna say I just found the operative word with that. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun too. I haven't had a lot of chances to talk about that EP, so it was fun to kind of go back and talk more about that.
Well, and we look forward to the day where we can hear it live, because we talk about all the seriousness of it, but there's some eminently danceable. I love to dance. There's some and as I said, I've seen. This is where anybody who likes any kind of punk music. I saw the Dead Kennedys once. I got a long history of. Yeah,
right.
so there's some eminently danceable music there for me.
Thank you.
So
yeah, and like I said, these songs had all been like tested live too. They're all like tried and true. Get the crowd into a frenzy. Playing Salamander live is so fun.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And just the energy that comes out of that song is amazing. And I just miss being able to do it live because there's just so much fun playing the songs off of that album.
Yeah. Well, we will have tickets when that happens. And in the
Thank
meantime, we would look forward for is re-release the right way to say, the renewed release?
I've been saying like the revamp.
Oh,
That's
I like that.
word.
The revamp of Winter in Limbo. And that's February 5th. And then you've got
Is that the 6th?
February
the
5th.
5th.
Oh,
and then
sorry.
you've got the online show on the 6th.
Right. Yeah, so the revamp drops February 5th, and then we'll be having a live stream show with a couple other amazing acts hosted by Melodic Noise Media, who is great. Hi, Andrew, if you're watching, I love you. And yeah, so that'll be fun. February 5th is when the album comes out. February 6th is the show.
Nice. And they do a nice job. They do a nice job, and they have a nice way for the chat to go on while you're playing.
They have like a new platform for it now too. My first show with Melodic Noise was just on their YouTube channel, but now they're using StreamYard, I guess, which I haven't used yet, so I'm excited. Yeah,
it's slick to participate in it from the viewer side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
You can kind of make it so that's it seemed easy enough for folks. It seemed easy enough for, I don't mean to say it like it's a technology thing, but easy enough for people to interact with while they were doing it with the artists.
Awesome. That sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Well, Dan, thank you. This has been fun. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun. Bye-bye.